Sorcerers, Josh here, and today I'm going to discuss the next card in Arthurian Legends that has caught my attention. Now, for those of you that don't want to watch a video that has any spoilers about Arthurian Legends, go ahead and click out of this video now because we are going to go into depth about a card today. For those of you that want to stick around, that card is Sugar Plum Pixies, which is a 2-mana, 1-water threshold, 2-power, exceptional fairy. Now, this fairy has the ability of Airborne, and in addition, it states that at the end of your turn, you may untap a nearby ally. Now, to begin, that's a decent power, although it doesn't get around some of the things that I'd like for it to get around, like Wave Shaper, like the new Sir Tristan, that's going to tap down your minions. But what it does do is it effectively allows you to untap a minion that you used for attack. So if you attacked with a boss troll or, maybe a large minion like Great Old One, you can untap that minion at the end of the turn to have a blocker that you need. So that is very cool. Now, we already have this in Sorcery through the artifact Belfry. But the problem with the Belfry is that, I've tried to build decks with it because it seems really cool, untap all nearby allies, but it just never made the cut. When you're dealing with that 40-card deck, you've got to make every card count. And for me, Belfry just never made the cut. I think that Sugar Plum Pixies are going to make the cut because they add a lot more utility than the Belfry. While their power is not as good because it only untaps one ally, it provides you with a minion that is airborne, and we all know what that all entails. And also, it, in a pinch can do an attack for you, attack a site, whatever you need to do that. So that gives it more options in terms of what the Belfry can do, being able to give you that little bit of extra damage, maybe land that killing blow. In addition, because it has Airborne, in order to get rid of it, they're either going to have to use some type of direct removal, like a bury or a drown, or, they're going to have to use some type of projectile. So at least it will have that minimal defense from land-bound minions that just can't get up there to attack an airborne minion. So that's why I like it. That's why I think the card will see play in the decks that I want to play compared to Belfry in the past that I've been cutting. Now, it does have some interesting combos. The biggest one that everyone has probably noticed is and I can't say the first part of this card's name, I'm just going to say the T Constrictor. So the T Constrictor, actually what it can do is it can tap to take a step and constrict an enemy minion, and then that minion is disabled. And then when the Constrictor untaps, it kills that minion. So if you have Sugar Plum Pixies hanging out nearby, that Constrictor can, in your turn, tap down, disable a minion, and then the Sugar Plum Pixies are going to be right there. They can untap the Constrictor, which will trigger the effect to kill the minion. So that is very cool. I really like the Constrictor. I've wanted it to work, but you really need some type of untap effect. And again, Belfry just, to me, wasn't worth it to make the cut from the things I wanted to do. But I think these Pixies will do that. So, I can definitely see Constrictors and Pixies showing up in the same deck to get that combo. In addition, the other nice card that Pixies basically provides a little bit of defense against is Backstab, because Backstab has to target a tapped minion. So if you can untap, your crucial minion, whatever it is, either a big minion or just something that's, very just pestering your opponent to no end and you want it to live longer, being able to untap it potentially can allow you to avoid that Backstab. Although that's not seeing a ton of play, but you never know. Some folks may bring it out, so especially in casual play. So those are kind of the two cards that I'm seeing that, one, it provides a defense against Backstab, and then two, it combos very well with the Constrictor. Now, all that being said, we have seen a lot of tapping and untapping effects in Arthurian Legends. I don't know if the Pixies themselves will be a good defense against those tap effects because of the way sorcery works and your inability to really interact on your opponent's turn. But, you know, maybe we will see something in the future where being able to untap at the end of your turn could become beneficial. Perhaps we could see our next card, like Dodge Roll, that can be played in your opponent's turn, and maybe that card is some type of a tap effect. Now again, because the Pixies untap at the end of the turn, don't know how beneficial that is, but when you're in a critical death's door situation, the ability to untap a minion near you that had to move to get to a site so they can provide defense next turn can be very key. So I think that the Pixies will provide some utility, basically in terms of providing defense, either for other minions or basically providing a guard so that your opponent has to think twice about coming into your territory. Or, in addition, it provides that excellent additional defense when we're in a death's door situation and you need every untapped minion you can get to chuck in front of those projectiles to basically defend for you or whatever it is. So those things all matter and help. So that's why I think that the Pixies will be a good utility minion that can also provide some damage early game if you need it to. Obviously, Airborne with the diagonal movement is very helpful, can provide some threat. But really, it comes down to kind of the combination of a little bit of damage and all the utility of untapping minions at the end of the turn for you to provide you with those defenders. We could see some other cool combos like the Constrictor. Who knows? Got a lot of cards coming in Arthurian Legends that we don't know about. It could also provide some type of defense. Perhaps we see some type of a card that taps a minion permanently. And in that case, you know, and it sees play. In that case, having something like the Pixies that can untap them at the end of your turn, and then, you know, you don't use them a turn, and hopefully your opponent doesn't have some way to tap them, like with a Wave Shaper. But then you will have the ability to use them, but you'll have to kind of wait a little bit of a turn to where you get that untap effect at the end of the turn from the Pixies. But those are kind of the things that I think that it's going to offer, and given all the tapping and untapping effects that we're seeing in Arthurian Legends, I really think that the ability to untap your minions, even at the end of your turn, may end up being very critical to play against those lockdown and control strategies that we may see in Arthurian Legends. So, my opinion, Sugar Plum Pixies is probably going to see some play. I'm certainly going to try to use it. It may not be a great card, and obviously there's a lot more cards to view, so maybe it doesn't pan out. But for 2 mana and 1 water threshold, providing 2 power with Airborne, and then that little extra ability to untap at the end of the turn, that feels a little bit better than me to say something like a Cloud Spirit that has that extra movement instead. So, you know, I could see that card competing for the spot of those cheaper minions, although, you know, some people like the extra movement that the Cloud Spirit provides. But those are just my thoughts on the Sugar Plum Pixies. I think the piece of art that was made for this is especially cool. So I really liked that piece. I'm going to want to get a little set of these in foil, maybe to use for play. So really looking forward to seeing that card in play. And I hope all of you maybe give it a shot as well. Until next time, keep on contesting the realm, and we'll talk to you later.